Watch this video to help understand all about what postpartum anger or rage is, and I will give you 5 evidence-based ways of how you can manage this anger so that you can feel much more calm and content. My name is Sophie Harris and I'm a pregnancy and postpartum therapist, and I work with new mums to help manage all of these big emotions that come up during this period so that they can feel much more confident and content. Subscribe to this channel because I'm posting twice weekly. I'm building a library of free maternal mental health, emotional well-being support to help you right through this stage from pregnancy to postpartum. So firstly, what is postpartum rage? You may or may not have heard this term before, but many people experience it without fully understanding about what's going on. I have a theory, and this is based on the different aspects which cause postpartum rage. So imagine we can feel so intensely angry or unusually irritable or frustrated after having a baby. And I would say that there are 2 main areas that feed into this. And this is to do with the nervous system and also the life changes that are going on for us. Let's start with our nervous system. Imagine that when we have a baby, our bodies go through a lot of stress and often trauma as we bring our baby into the world. We may be experiencing and processing what has gone on in our bodies, processing what's gone on in our pregnancies, and so we start motherhood already with a place where our nervous systems may be less regulated than usual, and we may be experiencing more stress than what we would normally. And then we add to this a baby who is crying, or they may not be crying, but they may have needs. Even when you and your baby are looking so calm and content and it's all joyous, there is still a certain amount of yourself that you are using to regulate your baby. You are picking up on their cues, you are ensuring that they're fed at the right time and then changed at the right time so that they feel happy and content. You are using a lot of your energy on doing this, and you're also doing this on often really limited sleep. And so I think we often underestimate how much energy we use as mothers in just kind of getting by day to day. Due to this way that we are regulating our babies and this energy that we are using, this can often mean that we can feel overstimulated. It is much easier for us to get overwhelmed or overstimulated by loud noises, difficult conversations with partners, feeling overly emotional. All of these things will add to you maybe feeling more extremes of emotions than you would at other times in your life. And all of this is totally normal. So when we are perhaps experiencing this overstimulation, this might come out as feeling really anxious and getting lots of strong physical symptoms of anxiety, or this could also come out in anger or rage, or feeling really frustrated, feeling really irritable. There is so much going on that it is completely understandable why you may experience this more than usual. And the second main part to my theory is the life changes. So during this period, as we become a mother, I would argue particularly for the first time, but I think there's such a steep change at each child that one person may have, that you are suddenly processing so much going on. You may be processing the changes in your relationship, and your life may have changed a lot more than your partner's, and this can bring up all kinds of feelings. You may be adjusting to life on maternity leave and you're not seeing friends like you would have done or colleagues, and you're trying to process all of these changes. Or you may just be going through this huge adjustment to motherhood, and even when we love motherhood or we enjoy it a lot or we really love our babies, this is still a lot. A helpful way of looking at this is imagining an iceberg. So imagine we have primary and secondary emotions, and usually we will find that anger is the emotion that we see. So imagine if we have an iceberg and then there's water like this, And so above the water, we've got anger. And then underneath this, we have all of these other emotions going on. So this might be loneliness, resentment, jealousy, sadness, yearning. Is that an emotion? I don't really know. But it would be really helpful for you just to notice, if I am experiencing anger, what are maybe my emotions going on underneath that? And then it can be helpful to work with that emotion going on underneath that and how to manage that emotion rather than just the anger. Saying that though, there are many different ways that you can help manage your anger. Both ways to manage in the moment when you're feeling angry, but also more general lifestyle things that can help you feel less angry and much more calm and content. My first tip would be to take breaks from your baby. I don't want to throw this advice out there because I know that there are some people who genuinely don't want to be away from their babies at all, and that's fine. But I also know that there's lots of people who would really benefit from just that bit of time away. That could be an hour away a day, or 20 minutes a day, or just a bit of time a week even. But just having that time to re-regulate your nervous system, to calm down. It might be that you can't always be out of the house for various reasons, but sometimes I suggest to my clients of using headphones or putting some music on or something that avoids you listening to your baby in the other room or listening to someone else caring for your baby, because that is not truly relaxing, and it can be really difficult to listen to someone else caring for our babies, particularly if they're not doing it in the way that we would. But this is a really helpful muscle to build of you being able to let go, both for regulating your own nervous system and for managing that anger, but also for a relationship with another person to build as well. With all this being said, you don't need to rush yourself if this really doesn't feel right for you, and that is totally okay. But I would definitely consider this if you're experiencing postpartum anger. And kind of related to this tip is, don't get caught in the resentment trap. Okay, what I mean by this is I see this literally time and time again with my clients. I've seen it in myself. I see it everywhere with all of the conversations I have on my Instagram page and my mum communities. But we feel resentful towards our partners because often as mums we're doing so much and we feel that we're not getting enough help. And so I think there is two main parts of this. Firstly is to ask for help and to ask your partner to do things. Sometimes we may get caught in this people-pleasing trap, or this idea of, well, I'm on maternity leave. If you're on maternity leave at this stage, I've got to do it. But actually, we have societally undervalued the role of a mother and how hard it is. And actually, it is completely okay for you to need a break. So don't fall into this idea of, I need to do everything, because it won't help in the long run. The more that you do and the less other people do, the more likely that resentment is to build, which will be contributing towards the anger. And with this, sometimes we may start this conversation like, say, my partner needs to do more, but also there is something of you learning to let go. Often with a newborn baby or a slightly older baby, like, you may know how to do things better, like you have had that more experience, but we need to learn to let go and let other people learn how to care for the baby in their own way. This would be really helpful for the bonding with, for example, a partner, but also help you to learn to let go so that that resentment and that frustration doesn't build up in yourself. Okay, and my third tip is to find ways to regulate your nervous system. So this means that when we are feeling angry or frustrated, there is usually some kind of build up to this, and we're usually experiencing some kind of physical experience where we are feeling particularly angry or frustrated feelings in our body. And actually learning ways to manage our nervous system and to manage these physical effects will be really helpful. So there are some in-the-moment strategies for when you are experiencing this anger, and also just more general life things that can really help you to do this. So in the moment, I would start first with anything is breathing. Taking deep breaths. I would suggest breathing in through your nose and then breathing in right through to your belly and then breathing out from your belly in out through your mouth. I would suggest if you can do the inhale shorter than the exhale, maybe breathe in for 4 and out for 8. This will help you to regulate your nervous system. This is so important for bringing oxygen to the different parts of our body in the moment and for giving us time to respond before becoming really frustrated. It may just also be when you're in the moment of just not being overstimulated, like just trying to create your environment so that you maybe don't have loads of loud different TV stuff all at one time, or you have a calming space in your house that you can retreat to, even if it's just one room where you've got nice soft colours, soft lighting, but just somewhere where you can learn to relax. And then just more generally, ways that we can relax our nervous system is things like spending time outside is really important, spending time in nature. This can be particularly helpful if we're walking barefoot on the grass. This can have a very regulating impact on our nervous systems. The food that we eat is really important for this, ensuring that we get regular exercise. If we can treat ourselves to a massage at some point, all of this is so helpful to just kind of bring us back into our bodies and help calm some of that physical tension. So I'd love to hear from you. What are the things that help you when you are in times of stress to help you calm down? This could be something like going for a walk or speaking to a friend, listening to music. Let me know in the comment section because it'd be really helpful to hear from you. Okay, and the next tip is to use what I call an emotional thermometer. So this essentially means learning to regulate yourself and learning to notice the early warning signs of that anger or that frustration, because usually we will experience it before we notice it. So I like to use a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being is calm, absolutely fine. 10 being is furious, angry, anxious, panicky, just all out big emotions. And it's just helpful just to check in with yourself through the day. So it's like, okay, where am I at the moment? I'm trying to change my baby. They're not doing what they're told and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, actually, I can feel myself. I'm a 5. I can feel my heart beating quicker. I can feel me being a bit quicker to be frustrated. I've got a slight headache. And it's like, okay, what can I do in this moment to bring me back down to a 3 or a 2? And it's like, okay, like taking some deep breaths. Just stopping what I'm doing at the moment, it's not that important. Taking some moments to sit down rather than going out the door, whatever that is. It might be going out the door and getting outside and going for a walk. Whatever it is that will help you in that moment. And this can just act as a helpful way for you identifying your early warning signs, because then it's a lot easier to bring yourself back when you haven't reached that 10 point, when you're still maybe at like 5 or 6 or 7, for example. And my last tip is a big one, but it's to heal your unresolved traumas. This is big, and I include this because it's obviously so much less specific than the other tips, but so much of our anger and our frustration come from stuff that has happened to us in the past, and there is nothing like digging up our old traumas like becoming a mum. So I would recommend just getting in touch with those parts of you. It can be really helpful. Often when we become angry or frustrated, we may feel like, oh my goodness, this is what my parents sounded like, and noticing that and just learning to work through these things so that they do not repeat themselves and that you become much more conscious of these. Obviously, it can be really helpful to do this with a therapist. If you would like some therapy, then I am a therapist, and you can head onto my website and check out the postpartum therapy section of details of how you could work with me. And if you liked this video, then you can subscribe for free weekly support twice weekly, where I'm building my library of maternal mental health support to bring you through this time, and so that you can feel much more confident and content. And don't forget to like this video because it will really help my channel for me. Okay, so I will leave a playlist of the other videos in this series, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.